We are on the record. My name is Ryan Kahila. I am contracted by Video Solutions. I am not financially interested in this action, nor am I a relative or employee of any of the attorneys or any of the parties. Today is October 24th, 2019. The time is 11:17 a.m. This video deposition is taken at 1105 East Catalia Avenue, Anaheim, California. The name of the case is David Ernest Ruvalo versus Walmart, Inc., filed in the Superior Court of the State of California, County of Orange, Central Justice Center. The case number is 30-201-8-01028-451-CU-PO-CJC. This is Volume 1 in the videotaped deposition of Wade Mitchelson. This deposition is taken by David Ruvalo. Would the attorneys introduce themselves and state who you represent?
Carrie Ashman on behalf of defendant Walmart, Inc.
David Ernest Ruvalo, pro per.
We are ready to proceed. The court reporter today is Stephanie Guanco with California Deposition Reporters. Would the reporter please swear in the witness?
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give in the following proceeding will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Wade, have you seen, hello Wade, first off. Have you had a chance to see the illustration that I put together?
Prior, yes.
Prior, yes. If we can enter this as Exhibit 1, just as a reference. There's a lot of discrepancy with where this actually occurred. In the police report, it says the men's department. It was actually on the main aisle, right near the front entrance. So my questions would be relative to, you know, with the surveillance, not in the men's department, but when you observed the videotape for the first time, did you notice anything, not in the men's department, but the main aisle, as far as any type of altercation or assault, anything of that nature?
And I'm going to object to Exhibit 1 that's been marked for the record, as it calls for speculation. It assumes facts, not in evidence. It's not based upon any evidence that has been submitted or has been verified and lacks foundation in this case. It also is a demonstrative exhibit that has no basis in any facts that have been submitted as evidence. I will allow the deponent to review it and answer questions relative to it. However, defendant asserts all rights to object to the introduction of this document at the time of trial.
You can answer the question.
Could you ask the question?
Ask the question, yes. With regards to the main aisles of Walmart, at that particular time, October 27th, at between 3:30 and 3:40, did you observe anything in the main aisles on the surveillance?
Objection, vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation as to the main aisles, and it lacks foundation.
The witness can answer.
The only information I have is what the officers came to me about and asked me for video surveillance.
That wasn't the question. That wasn't the question, though. The question was if you observed anything on the videotape as far as an altercation.
The only area that I observed. Okay, sorry.
Sorry, as a first thing, because we have a court reporter here, let's ensure that everyone is able to ask their questions and to answer the question fully so that the court reporter can take down a transcript that has all of the information so we're not talking over one another. So if you can ask the question one more time, I just want to make sure that we have a clear transcript.
Of course. Did you observe any altercation on the video?
At the time when the officers came to me, the only video that I observed was the area that they asked me to look at.
So you did not see any video with any altercation?
At that time, I would say no.
Okay, besides that time, did you see it on another occasion?
Objection, vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation. Are you talking about the incident that's on the October 27th, 2016?
Correct.
Just want to make sure that we have it clear. You're talking about that specific incident involving yourself and another person.
Yes, when I was attacked, absolutely. I was actually responding to the way he answered the question, and he said at that time he didn't. And so we are under oath. I'm asking, did you see it any other time regarding October 27th?
No, that's the only time that I ever looked at video for that area that was specifically given to me by the police department.
Okay. And with regards to the police department, they did contact your location 8 times throughout the course of 3 months, 2 to 3 months. The 29th of November being the first time, which is when you had videotape. So my question is why would we get rid of videotape after December 6th and destroy the videotape if it supposedly showed nothing on there and your innocence?
Objection, vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation, calls for legal conclusion, lacks foundation, it's incomplete hypothetical. You have to let me state my objections. The objections are put on the record for use at a later time for the judge to decide whether or not your question has the necessary elements in which to submit at the time of trial or in any papers or any opposition to any motion for summary judgment. You have to provide me the opportunity to state my objections. That is my right to do. So when you ask a question, I'll state my objections, and then the deponent can answer unless I instruct him not to. He is going to have a chance to answer your question. You just have to give me the time to state my objections. So
I understand.
Okay.
I was just saying you can say vague and ambiguous next time instead of saying the whole thing, like repeat the whole thing. But go ahead.
These are all my objections. They're all
Okay.
multiple different objections that I'm making to the question
Okay.
that you're asserting. So do we want to have the court reporter read back the question and then I can go on with my objections and he can answer the question? Would you like that to happen, or do you want to ask the question again in a different way?
We can do it any way you prefer. We can take more time if you like. I'll change up my pace if you'd like. My question was, if there was nothing on the videotape, why would you get rid of the surveillance videotape?
Objection, vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation. It assumes facts not in evidence, and it misstates the facts of this case. You can answer if you understand the question.
I don't understand the question, I'm sorry.
Okay, well, Ms. Eshelman sent me an email that said there was nothing on the videotape that was pertinent to this particular incident, and so that they disposed it, you got rid of the video. I have the email here if you'd like to see it.
Do you want to ask him about his knowledge as to the facts that you believe? Because what we're here for today is for you to ask him about what he knows about this incident. So I don't really understand where this line of questioning is going regarding communication that I have had with you.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to ask him about his personal knowledge, maybe you can phrase it in a way with, what do you know about this, or what information do you have about whether there was a surveillance camera in the area, whether there ever has been video of the incident, whether there ever has been video in that area at that time. So maybe that's how you want to ask him. I want you to have the information that he has. I just want to make sure the questions that are being asked are about his knowledge as to the incident, if he has any, surveillance, if he has any knowledge to that effect. So maybe you want to ask him directly about these questions.
Yes. So verbose. I understand. I understand what you're saying. So Wade, was there anything unique or different about this particular incident as far as the way that it came to you?
Objection, vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. It's taking a lot. Okay. Fair enough.
This is how it's going to happen. You're going to ask the question. I'm going to assert my objections as
Okay.
to your questions so that the court can
You're
rule
soaking up a
upon
lot
it.
of the time, and I will simply switch my question, and we can move forward. We have a certain amount of time that we have to get this done, and I have questions I have to ask.
Okay, and he's going to answer your questions, but I am allowed, as a party to this action,
Correct.
as a counsel for a party to this action, to assert objections to your questions. So
Okay.
I'm going to continue to do that. That is my right.
Okay, got it. Okay, fair enough. I
So
understand.
that's ask the question, I'll
Okay.
exert my objections, and then he'll answer the question. He's going to
Okay.
have an opportunity to answer the question. So,
Respectfully, if you'd please shorten the way you explain things, it's not really appreciated. I do need to have time asking questions, so I do understand.
go ahead.
Okay. So when did Lee and you ever talk about this incident?
To my knowledge, the only time I ever heard of this incident was when it was reported to claims management.
So you heard about it on the 22nd of December?
Correct.
So in the police report, it says that you were contacted about it on the 29th of November.
So the full incident reporting was when it was reported to CMI in December. Yes, the police came to me, 2 officers came into the building,
Yes.
asked me to look at specific time in a specific area over in the men's section to look for video surveillance, and at that time there was nothing on video because there are no cameras in the men's area.
Was that a thorough investigation to try to identify anybody, the assailant or anybody? Did you do a thorough, would you say in your opinion, a thorough investigation on that?
Objection, vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation, calls for an assumption as to the term thorough, and it calls for legal conclusions.
So when the police come to me and ask me for video surveillance, and at a specific time and a specific day in a specific area of the store, that's what I look for. It is up to them to make the decision for everything else, to do a thorough investigation.
Why did you show them 3:40 to 4 o'clock?
So once again, that's what the police officers asked me.
They didn't ask you that.
Objection, it's argumentative.
But no, it's not.
Is there a
It's-
question?
No, it's not. It was actually, they were saying it was probably an hour before that they were told about that time. So why would you show them 3:40 to 4 o'clock? It's not argumentative. That's in the police report.
Is there a question?
Yeah, the question is why he only showed them 3:40 to 4 o'clock and not an hour before, hour after, hour within? Why is it 3:40 to 4?
Objection, calls for speculation.
So once again, when the officers come into the office and ask me at a specific time what they've asked me,
Right,
that's what I'm going to show them.
but that's not what they asked you. They asked about the time. It was about an hour prior. They said 2:35 was around the time. So why would you go all the way to 3:40 to 4 o'clock and not show them 3:30 to 4 o'clock? Because that's when it happened.
Objection, vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation, but assumes facts not in evidence, and it's argumentative.
I still don't understand what you're asking for that question specifically, because when an officer comes in and asks me for a specific thing, that's what I'm going to show them.
So you always show them 20-minute increments?
Objection, vague and ambiguous, it's overbroad, and it's irrelevant to this case.
If they've asked me to show them in a 20-minute increment, that's what I'm going to show them.
Is that what they asked you?
I do not remember at that time.
You
do
don't
not
remember.
recall.
Did you see anything before 3:40 yourself personally?
Objection, vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation.
So once again, I do not know specifics for this and the times for this. All I was looking at was the times that the officers told me to look at.
Did you speak with Lee about why he didn't fill out an incident report about this?
Objection, calls for speculation, it's vague and ambiguous, and it assumes facts not in evidence. And it's overbroad as to time.
I do not recall.
You guys don't ever discuss incidents about, things that a police investigation is going on about, like, you worked this day, what happened? You never had that dialogue?
Objection, vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation, calls for legal conclusions.
So if it needs to be spoken to him about this, then I would have spoken to him about it. But I don't recall ever talking to him about anything about this.
It seems as though you guys do a thorough job whenever your employees are assaulted, since you sent me 5 different police reports with the assaults being on the actual employees, cameras, communication. Is there a reason why in this particular crime the work done was subpar?
Objection, vague and ambiguous, argumentative, incomplete, hypothetical, calls for speculation, and it assumes facts not in evidence.
Can you rephrase the question? Because it's like broad.
Why did the plaintiff get no effort from the Walmart team to find out who this assailant was? He was in the store. Lee says he acknowledges that there was an incident there. He says that on 3 different documents. So why is it that Lee and the asset protection manager don't find out who assaulted the plaintiff?
Objection, vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation. It assumes facts not in evidence. It's an incomplete hypothetical, and it's argumentative.
So, am I allowed to ask a question back? Okay. How would I find out what that person's name is?
Not what their name is.
How would I find out who they are?
They ran out of the front entrance of the store. There's 3 cameras, at least right in front of the store. I've seen them on the police reports. So I'm wondering, did you see anyone run out of the store on the videotapes?
So, once again, I'll tell you, I went with what the officers asked me to do.
Did you
At
ever
the
see
time.
me on the videotape?
There was no video of the area where the incident occurred.
That's not what I asked. I asked if you ever seen me on the videotape.
So once again, I do not recall or remember, and there is no video evidence at that time.
Okay. Detective Solello had contacted your asset protection and said that he wanted to follow up that there's videotape. And this is almost a year after. If I may present this exhibit, which is Exhibit 7, if you can please read what that says. And it's basically saying, you guys said you had the videotape, you can come pick it up. We keep it for 5 years anytime there's a police investigation. And when he went to go pick it up, it was not available, and the person that was going to give it to him was on vacation for 2 weeks. So was that you that spoke with Detective Solello?
Objection, calls for speculation, assumes facts not in evidence. I'm also going to object to this exhibit. Are you marking this exhibit as Exhibit 2 to the deposition?
It's Exhibit 7. I mean, if we can mark it as Exhibit 2, since we're putting it in as 2.
Okay, because we already have an Exhibit 1, so that's going to be
That's
marked as
fine.
Exhibit 2. So
We can do that.
I would object to Exhibit 2 as it calls for speculation, it assumes
Sorry.
fact not evidence,
I don't know
and
if
it
it's
lacks
my
foundation.
Would you like me to read it out loud? I could do that if you can't read it. I apologize, it's so small. Let me ask you this. Is it true that whenever there's a police investigation, you guys keep the video for 5 years? Is that a true statement?
Objection, vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation, incomplete hypothetical.
So, to answer the question you just asked me, I'm not sure what you mean by 5 years. Like, for what reason?
Do you keep videotape that's of surveillance of that area whenever there's a police investigation?
Objection, vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation.
Okay,
So
I'll
I'll go-
rephrase the question. According to the White Coat policy, anytime there's an incident, you guys are to keep 1 hour after, 1 hour before of cameras in nearby locations, all locations that could have caught anything on camera, correct?
Objection, it's irrelevant.
How is it irrelevant? You guys destroyed it.
That's argumentative. Do you want to ask a question?
I am asking the question.
Okay, which
Yes, sir.
question would you like him to answer?
Do you keep video surveillance that involves police investigation?
Objection, vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation, incomplete hypothetical.
Keep it how?
Do you keep copies of it?
Copies of it where?
with the claims management? Do you send one there and you guys keep one in house? Is that how you guys do it?
Objection, vague and ambiguous, incomplete, hypothetical, calls for speculation.
Okay, so I'll ask you again, sorry. If you're saying I'm sending one to them and one to keeping one, where am I keeping? Or what type of format would it be on and where?
I've seen CD in the police report, a CD copy. That's the only thing I've seen is a CD copy.
You've seen a CD copy of a video?
No, in the police reports that you provided, I was reading through them, and it's regular practice for them to keep a compact disc of it, and also the white code policy clearly states what's to be done.
So I think we need to make a distinction here, and I think that you, within your question, needs to make a distinction regarding the Anaheim Police Department investigation that was conducted and the white code policy that comes into effect after an incident is reported. These are two different situations, two different policies. So if you can distinguish which one you're talking about, are you asking him about the Anaheim Police Department investigation that was conducted?
No.
You're asking him about the retention of video after an incident is made.
Correct.
Okay. So do you understand
Yes, now I understand what he's saying.
when an incident is made, the policies regarding video?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, there's mentioned men's department. Is there a men's department in Walmart? Because I didn't say men's department, it was the police officer that actually said that. So I'm asking, is there a men's department or is there no men's department in Walmart?
Yes, there is a men's department.
There is a men's department, okay, and there's no cameras over that section?
Objection, vague and ambiguous, and it's overbroad as to time. Are you talking about at the time that you say the incident occurred in October of 2016? Or are you talking about currently?
I'm talking about at the time, 2016.
Okay.
So at the time in 2016, there was no camera in that area,
In what area?
the men's department.
How big is the men's department?
At the time of the incident in 2016?
Correct.
I don't know how big wise it is, but it's a huge section in the back right there, across from the women's section.
Okay. Do you have any undercover asset protection
Currently,
that were working on that particular day?
On that particular day? No.
You did not. Okay. When you do have undercover asset protection, what are their duties and what are their hours usually?
objection, vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation. It is overbroad and it's irrelevant.
When you talked to Lee about this, Lee knew what happened that day. What did he say about it?
Objection assumes facts, not in evidence, calls for speculation.
So, like I said before, I didn't know about the incident until it was reported to me by the police department. And then had them asking me what happened, to look at video, and then the CMI report.
But earlier you said that it was on the 22nd of December that you first found out about this incident. So was it the 29th of November or was it the 22nd of December?
Vague and ambiguous, and again, we need to make that distinction. Are you talking about the Anaheim Police Department's investigation
I was very
regarding the
clear on what I
incident?
said and what he said.
Well,
He said that the first he heard about it was on the 22nd when the incident report came in. Then he just said right now that it was the 29th of November.
I'll clarify.
okay, if you want to clarify.
Yes. So your question earlier about that, when you said when I first found out about the incident, was that referring to the reporting to CMI or with the police department coming to me about an incident that I had no knowledge of who this person was or what happened? They're just coming to me and asking me about video.
And you just kind of looked at two cameras and just said, oh, there's nothing there.
Objection, misstates prior testimony, vague and ambiguous. Assumes facts.
As disgusted as that look, what just was, is as I am with this company, with the company you're representing. So I do apologize. That was a little bit argumentative. I will not do that again. But let me ask you another question. With regards to policy, are you supposed to be included whenever there's an incident? Was Lee supposed to report what happened?
Objection vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation, calls for legal conclusions. If you have any information.
You didn't ask
Can answer.
Lee any questions about this?
Vague and ambiguous, overbroad.
I kind of don't understand. Like at the time when the officers came to me, or when the CMI report was taken?
Well, Lee did the incident report, or he did, when he wrote to the claims department about the incident, he says he remembers the incident, and then during the police investigation, he also says he remembers me leaving the facility. And they asked him, did you do an incident report? He said no. And my question is during this investigation, you guys had no dialogue. You didn't talk about it at all. This is not normal practice to say, hey, you were working on this particular day. Did you have anybody that saw this? What's going on? The police are looking for this person that broke this guy's rib. There was no dialogue.
Objection vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation, assumes facts not in evidence, and it's incomplete. An incomplete hypothetical and calls for speculation as to the term investigation. Are you talking about investigation by the Anaheim Police Department?
I'm talking about when Wade knows there's a police investigation looking for somebody that was assaulted, or somebody that assaulted someone in the store. What is the procedure after that? What are you supposed to do after that?
It's vague and ambiguous, and it calls for speculation, and it lacks foundation. Do you want to ask him if he knew what the incident was about that the police were investigating? Because I think that's where we've skipped over a step. You're asking him a bunch of questions about the Anaheim Police Department's investigation, which was not done by Wade. Wade was a part of their investigation. And then there's a second situation where there's an incident that's reported to Walmart later in December, correct? There's two different situations that we're talking about here. I want to make sure that we're clear about this because it seems like we're muddling the two together.
We'll get there. Trust me. We'll get there.
Well,
And trust me, as we go deeper into this, trust me, I'll get better at my questions because we will get to the bottom of this. I already had told you. Let's do this as exhibit 3, please. And this will be the statement from Lee regarding the incident report. If you could read that out loud, please.
Objection vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation. We're going to object to the document because it has been altered. It's not a true original copy. It lacks foundation. It calls for speculation as this is not something that was written by Wade. It was written by a different associate. And the document speaks for itself. Well, the original statement speaks for itself. Walmart objects to any and all further information that has been added or altered on this document by plaintiff.
If Lee acknowledges me there, and you were asked about that day, where's the disconnect? Where's the disconnect? Where is it that you are going to purposefully look at one particular area that was said in the police report, but you're not going to look at the entire surveillance?
Objection vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation, incomplete hypothetical, and it assumes facts not in evidence.
I'm not understanding your question.
Was Lee fired, or did he quit?
Objection, it's completely irrelevant.
To you, I think, yeah. So, go ahead. Did Lee get fired, or did he quit?
Objection, it is irrelevant.
He could still answer the question.
Same objections. Let me state my objections and then he can provide an answer. Like we said, it's kind of a you ask questions, I'm going to assert my objections, he's going to answer. He will answer your questions unless I instruct him not to. I'm not instructing him not to answer this question, I'm just asserting my objections.
understand.
So my objection to that question is that it's irrelevant.
So from my knowledge of Lee, he left the company himself on his own terms.
Got it. Technically, there's nothing on that video, so were you ever written up for getting rid of the video, destroying the video that had nothing on it?
Objection, it's an incomplete hypothetical and it assumes facts not in evidence
Okay.
and it's argumentative.
Okay, well, did you destroy the video?
So once again, there was no video of that area inside the store in the men's section where I was asked by the police
Okay,
department.
okay. Well, let me give you a scenario then, really, and I've got to do this scenario because if something was accused, let's just say somebody said they were hurt at the front desk, and they ended up dying, right? And you have a video of the front desk and nobody's there. Wouldn't you keep the video? I don't understand why, if there's a claim that somebody was attacked there, you would destroy it, you would get rid of video, and there would be no video. Where did the video go that has nothing on it?
Objection. It calls for speculation. It's an incomplete hypothetical and it's irrelevant. If you understand the question, you can answer it.
I think I understand what you're saying, but once again, there was no video of the area, so there was nothing to destroy. There was no video of men's department.
But the policy is to keep video whenever there's an incident. And you knew there was an incident, so the videotape that you were watching, and that the detective went back a second time in December to watch. You didn't have a trigger in your mind to say, this is something I should keep the video so we can show we're innocent.
Objection. Vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation. I believe the deponent has made it clear there's no cameras in that area, so there has never been a video of the incident.
But you would keep the video of nothing then. You would keep that video of nothing to prove you're innocent.
I guess I just don't
You wouldn't destroy it.
I don't understand. There's no cameras in the area.
In what area?
In the area of the men's department. That's what the
It
deponent just
wasn't
said.
in the men's department. It was on the hall. It was in the main aisle.
And I guess, do we need more specificity as to exactly where you claim the incident occurred? Can you describe in the store where you claim the incident occurred?
Yes, I can.
Okay, describe it in specificity because I want to make sure
Okay.
that the deponent knows
From the
what
front
area
en-
you're
from
talking
the, From the
about.
front entrance, it was 35 feet straight ahead, 20 feet to the left, and another 38 feet straight up. Down your main aisle that goes all the way to the back of your store where the restrooms are at, that main aisle next to the Disneyland, like the Disneyland clothing, the jewelry, that aisle right there, it would be, you have two main aisles, two main vein aisles that go up to the store. The one that leads all the way back to the restroom, that's the aisle I was on. And actually there's multiple cameras in that area, and they overlook the entire center of the entire place. And so this had went on for long enough. Are you saying that you didn't keep the video that shows nothing on there, going against your policy and ultimately costing us all this money? I mean, we wouldn't even be here if that hadn't been destroyed, because you could have been like, look it's right there. The video has nothing on it. But that didn't happen, did it? They just, it's worth the money to go to court. It's worth the money to get the lawyers. It's worth that to not show what happened, because ultimately you had control of the videos. You're supposed to keep those videos, right? And if you'd have kept them, you said, look, you can have 100 copies of those videos. There's nothing on it.
Do you have a question? Do you have a question?
No,
For the deponent.
I'm building to my questions.
You get to ask questions, he'll provide answers. I had asked you to specify exactly where you claim the incident to occur. If you're saying it's not in the men's clothing department, and this is the first time I'm hearing that it's not in the men's clothing department, that's what's stated in every single other piece of paper, every other document that's associated with this case, including the Anaheim Police Department records regarding their investigation. So you're saying it's not in the men's clothing department, it's in a different area, and you described the area. Now, Wade, was there a camera that looked onto that area?
I'm not sure of where he's speaking of inside the store.
Right past the jewelry section.
Right
In the
past
aisle.
In the aisle.
Yes.
Okay.
I was attacked twice.
But then you said there was the Disney right there across from it, correct?
It's in the illustration. It's it's really like right in front of the store. I know I know it's so crazy like to think he could have seen this, but the jewelry is right here, the Disney section is right here, and this all happened right past that near these partitions. And there was multiple employees watching, and this went on for about 5 minutes.
Okay, so I'm going to object to the document that we're looking at. I'm going to specify that this document is in Exhibit 1, and it's the 4th page of Exhibit 1. Now, we have to set some foundation
It's the
for this
second
document.
page.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4th physical page of Exhibit 1, correct?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. Does this image that's created by Mr. Rivolo, does it accurately reflect the way the store was on the date of the incident in October 2016?
No, it does not.
What is different about it?
So, where the jewelry is right here is
Mhm.
actually shifted over here. This is where it was lined up specifically. There was no wall that was built here that you have on here. This action alley, that's what they're called, action alleys, these things, go all the way through here, which is not built into this thing. You're saying that the Disney shop is here, which is technically way over here on this end of the building.
I was saying that Disney was up here and this happened back here. So this action alley cross, this length is not. You know the length from this here, right? So it's not. This is a separation there. So, and that's to my best recollection. Is that somewhat accurate, or is this completely off? Is the jewelry next to the Disney section, across from it?
No, it's not.
It's not? Okay, well I have pictures that show that it is, so.
On the date of the incident in October 2016.
I have, yeah, on your Facebook, you have pictures on 2016, and it's like that.
On the date of the incident in 2016, what Wade is saying is that the illustration that you've created, it does not reflect the way that the store was on the date of the incident. So when you're trying to ask him about specific areas and the camera coverage of those areas, that's where I think we need to be clear about this.
Right.
Because if you're going to use this document that's been marked as Exhibit 1 for reference as to where you think the incident occurred in,
Right.
you need to be clear about what area you're talking about, and then Wade can testify as to whether cameras covered that area at that time.
Well, this area is kind of broad, and there's a camera that faces out this way. Was there cameras that covered that general area?
Objection, vague and ambiguous calls for speculation, and it's overbroad as to general area. Are you talking about the action alley next to jewelry?
Yes. Action alley.
Where did you see the camera?
Where did I see the camera? Above my head.
And when did that happen? Are you talking about the date of the incident in October 2016, or are you talking about currently?
I'm talking about the day I went in on the 22nd to go fill out the incident report.
On December 22nd, 2016.
Correct.
Did the cameras change between October 2016 and December 2016?
To my knowledge, no.
Okay. Well,
Was there a camera that was faced on this action alley where he claims the incident occurred? Specifically, would you say it's in the middle of the conjunction between the two action alleys?
we can drop that. We know we can drop that.
No, I want to be clear because he's here to testify as to where the camera angles were located, and the fact that there is no video of your incident because there's no camera that covered that area.
Right.
So have you been asking him questions about that? My understanding is that you're asking him whether there was video, whether there was a camera in the area where
I was
your
asking
incident
him why he
occurred.
violated the white code policy.
And again, let's step back because we're talking about
I mean that's really what I'm asking him. Why did you violate the white code policy?
objection, vague, and ambiguous calls for speculation, and it assumes facts, not evidence, and it misstates the policy.
No, it doesn't.
Wade, when is the white code policy enacted? When does it come into effect?
So you're talking about specifically the video, correct? For the white coat policy?
And let's,
Because I don't know what a white coat policy is. That's not part of our technical terms.
Okay. Okay.
is it correct that the video preservation that's included with a white code policy would come into effect when an incident is reported to Walmart and an incident report filled out?
Yes,
And that did not occur until December 2016, correct?
correct.
Who's supposed to fill out the incident report? Does the customer go and get an incident report and they fill it out themselves? Or is that the manager's duty to do that?
So at the time of the incident, when it's reported, it's the manager's duty to go get the
Right.
specifics.
Right. And your manager didn't do that, right?
Objection vague and ambiguous, calls for speculation, assumes facts not in evidence.
What is
misstates.
factual? Because these are documents you sent me that say that he observed and he knows of an altercation, but he never saw anything. That's vague and ambiguous. That's vague and ambiguous. What time is it?
Almost noon.
Almost noon. Okay, so let's wrap this up here soon. Well, Wade, thank you for your time. I'll ask it one more time. Did you see anything near that was at all relative to somebody getting assaulted, having now a broken rib, a deformed rib, and your employees watching that and not calling the cops, not calling security? Did you see anything of that nature?
Objection, calls for speculation, vague and ambiguous, assumes facts not in evidence.
So once again, I'll answer the question like I have been every single time with you. The only knowledge I have is when the police officer comes in and says, hey, can you look at video at this time in this specific area in men's department? And there's no camera coverage of that area.
What area?
I just said the men's department.
No, that area.
That area where?
That's fine. I have no further questions. Thank you very much, Wade.
Okay, I have some questions.
I'd like to go by code.
I am provided the opportunity to ask some clarifying questions as to his testimony on the record. This is the
Go for
deposition
it.
that you
Go
noticed.
for it.
Mr. Rivolo provided a new description as to the area where he believes his incident occurred on that night in the action alley that's...
Objection. I did not provide a new description. You stated that none of the documents state that, but when I filled out that incident report, not the police report, because I didn't fill out the police report, the incident report that I filled out, the 12 papers that I wrote, when Lee said, if I turn this in right now, they'll just blow it off. Those papers say exactly where it happened. So before you tell me what I've been stating, you need to look at the case and what was sent over on December 22nd. And you'll see that I never said men's department. If you were paying attention.
If an Anaheim police officer on the date that they came to look at the video, if they wanted to review other times, other locations of camera footage, would they have been allowed to do so?
Yes.
To your knowledge, has there ever been a video of an incident or anything related to an incident that occurred on October 27th, 2016 in the early morning hours?
No.
For the record, that this deposition will be marked as confidential pursuant to the court's executed protective order. The protective order will be marked as Exhibit 4 to the deposition, along with the executed Exhibit A's from the 2 videographers that have been here today and the court reporter. I also want to put on the record that the deponent and my office and myself do not permit or consent to any sort of audio taping, videotaping, or any other recording besides those that have been done by the certified court reporter and by the certified videographers today here at the deposition.
I just hope your story corroborates with the other stories, because I will get better at asking questions, and if you're lying under oath, that's not a good thing, because there's a lot of perjury that goes on with you guys, with your company. And you know, the benefit of being a pro per and not knowing is not knowing. Okay, so that's all the questions I got for you.
Okay, let's end the
Thank you.
deposition.
Counsel, would you like a copy of the deposition?
Yes, please.
This concludes the videotape deposition of Wade Mitchelson. The time is 12:01 p.m.